Hey y'all, happy full moon in Leo. It's a heavy one, and I want to use a different deck and also start with more of an exploration of what I'm noticing is coming up for the collective. Leo is really all about our inner child, but also our personality and how we project to the world, how we desire to be seen. But what can often happen is the projection that we put out there usually is a false one. It's an inauthentic one because we are really trying to protect ourselves from being harmed any further. So, especially as it relates to any wounds, like inner child wounds, really, childhood trauma about abandonment, abuse, rejection, neglect, all of the behaviors that we form to survive, really, these coping mechanisms are on full display. So people are experiencing a lot of defensiveness, a lot of isolation, really the desire to like pounce and attack immediately without actually processing potentially the other person's perspective or the ways that we haven't been clear around our own boundaries. And so all of these wounds, the full moon is illuminating for us to see like, hey, this behavior is indication of X being unhealed. And so we can do that work if we listen, if we observe. And that is what Aquarius season is all about. The new moon in Aquarius set us up for a full month of honest observation about what needs to be healed. And the full moon in Leo is asking us to go within and heal from the inside out instead of expecting other people to give us the attention that we need, the love that we need, and all of the things that we probably didn't get as a child. And asking us really to not blame other people for the ways that we haven't effectively communicated what our needs are, or assumed that people would do certain things for us, or projecting the role of parent, right, onto the people in our circle and desiring to get that, to get those needs fulfilled. So we have to reparent ourselves in this moment. And so what I want to do is use these archetype cards to see what parts of ourselves need healing, what the full moon is illuminating. And then we'll go with the tarot deck. Okay, I'll start with these three. So we got the Virgin, we got the Fool, and we got the Visionary. So really, a lot of what's coming through with these three cards is our ability to remain childlike in the pursuit of our dreams, in the pursuit of our happiness, to have the ability to believe in ourselves where people around us or people growing up kind of put it in our mind that we weren't capable of certain things. Or even if the seed was planted to believe in our dreams, the world around us has kind of beat us down into what and limited our beliefs about what was possible. So the Virgin card here, the light attribute says maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirits. But what is coming through is some type of abuse of power that we could have experienced as a child, and how that's now expressing is the shadow attribute that says fear of intimate union. So when you are unable to be vulnerable, what happens is you intentionally, sometimes subconsciously shut people out because you don't want to re-experience that violation of being exposed to further harm, further trauma. And so the guidance from Spirit here is use your discernment. Don't be vulnerable with people you know cannot hold the vibration of having a pure heart, having a pure spirit. And that's why, and actually, you may not be able to share certain things with everybody. And having the ability to really have union and communion with yourself first is the prerequisite to knowing who is safe to share, because then you are able to trust your body, feel safe in your body, feel comfortable enough to use that discernment. So it's almost like we're afraid of being alone. And because of that, we seek engagement and interaction with people we actually know aren't safe, emotionally safe. We're seeking protection from people when we are now responsible for protecting ourselves. We're seeking love from people when we are now responsible for loving ourselves. And it's not to say that you can't lean into community, but you can't actually be vulnerable with the people who are safe until you acknowledge the harm that's been done in the past. It's basically acknowledging that, hey, I am this closed off. I get defensive, or I'm angry because I was not heard as a child. And so now I'm crying out for the attention because nobody saw me. I was not able to be witnessed. And now I am shrinking myself into isolation and not allowing love to come in, not even from the divine. And so she's surrounded. Love is coming to her, but she is closed off. Her heart chakra is blocked because of all the pain that needs to be healed. So let's get guidance from Spirit on healing this attribute. Okay, we got the little gourd, and this is about having it's a feeling of emotionally underdeveloped, still being childlike with your emotions, still acting out kind of like a child. But I think it's because it's pent up frustration from those childhood wounds. So we really need to lean in under the influence of this full moon and explore through journaling, through release, about what was done to us and what harm was done to us, why we didn't feel protected, so that we can, not that we won't have to deal with it. I mean, trauma is something that stays with us, and we have to we almost carry it with us. We release as much as we can, but we have to have a trauma-informed relationship with ourselves, and that's what I've been saying this year. So being aware of what happened, releasing the pent-up emotions and those old emotions will allow you not to be stuck in that same place, right? You will start to evolve and to grow as you reparent yourself, and your behaviors will start to change. You won't lash out, or you won't be so quick to react, because you take time to process how you feel before unconsciously expressing, unconsciously reacting. So with this Fool and the Visionary, they came out together, and to me, this feels like being afraid to shine. I'll read the two. The light attributes of the Fool, fearlessly revealing emotion. That's what comes with that vulnerability, helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. And then the shadow attributes are using humor to wound rather than to liberate, denial of your emotional truth. So this is that mask that I talked about. And we're being asked to be more authentic by removing the mask, being honest about how we feel, first with ourselves, so that we don't have to fake it. And the visionary card, the light attribute, is capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others, willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain. The shadow attributes are selling insights to the highest bidder, compromising your vision to make it more acceptable. And so a lot of this full moon, not only is it about healing our inner child, but it's also about walking into our soul's purpose, realigning with our personal soul mission, realigning with the work that we were called to do, and being an honest observer to the ways that we shape-shifted just to fit in. This requires risks. I shared a little bit about having courage as my personal mantra, but playing small because we're afraid to fail is us losing before we start. So let's get some guidance from Spirit around that. How we can be more childlike in the belief of ourselves, and also how we can be like a lion and plan and prepare and take the risk at the appropriate time, because lions are extremely calculated. So what's coming through now is protecting your idea. Do not share it with the world, because what happens is, as the inner child, as the wounded inner child, we desperately want the validation of other people to affirm what it is that we want to do. And so we cannot do that. That's one way. That's one advice from Spirit, or advice point. This is also our tendency to self-deprecate or, self-deprecate. Like, oh, I ain't all that, or, just joking around. But you can't play with your vision. You have to be very careful about the words that you speak over yourself and over your life. So we got the More card. And this is the Hierophant in the traditional tarot. This is about needing to pray over our ideas, protecting our vision. You see he has like this amethyst over his crown. His head is protected. The vision is protected. Their vision is protected. And also an amethyst over really the throat chakra. So there are power in your words. There are power in your thoughts. So protecting that energy at all costs, speaking life, catching yourself when you're thinking negatively. And since the amethyst is here, this is probably a really good stone to use in our meditations, in our prayers, and our protection. Because this stone came through in a live that I did earlier in the week as well. Now, I won't go any further because the monthly messages on Overflow on Demand each sign, the full moon was a very, very heavy influence. And so if you want to know more about how it's affecting you specifically, definitely check out your full messages there. They're $9.99. If you subscribe, you get access to your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, and all 12 videos, and that's $19.99. So you definitely get a better value there. But this has been your moon message. I love you all so much. And, you know, this is heavy work. But the bottom of the deck, let me just say it. It's the femme fatale. And the light attributes of this and what we can gain from this full moon, and really Venus and Aries, is highlights the erotic energy of the feminine. Opens your heart when your dependency is rejected. And the shadow attributes are inappropriate use of sensuality, attachment to money, and power. And I hesitated to go here and to talk more about it, and I wanted to wrap up, but they're like, no, you have to talk about this. The ways that we've been hurt as a child can allow us to weaponize our wounds. We can either be strong and powerful and own our power, or we can be under the illusion that we have full control when we've really outsourced control of our body, control over our emotions, to what people think of us and the external factors about what make us look strong, powerful, and successful. So when I talked about taking off the mask and realigning with what our true purpose is, that's what we're being asked to examine. How are we using our sensual energy, our creativity, and if we are expressing from a place of pain or a place of power. And if it is pain, that's okay, because that can help us heal and it can help other people heal. But if it is manipulative in any way, or if it is used to avoid, if we're using our sensuality or our creative, I won't even say creative, because it's the misuse. It's not being creative. It's just the use of our sensuality to avoid this, to avoid, not the virgin, you can ignore that, but to avoid going and digging into what that inner child wound was, then you end up wearing a mask all the time. And so that's when we're being called to heal those inner child wounds, so that we can stop pretending that everything's okay and get to be a little more free. Okay. I didn't plan on extending that message, so hopefully you got it. I think it was for somebody. So happy full moon, and head on over to the Overflow on-demand page, theoverflow.com. Link is in the profile to get your monthly message. Okay. Have a good day.